my goal isn't to get thinner. I feel healthy and I feel comfortable and I don't have to be. And that's the other thing too. And those other truths that I still contend with is I don't have to be a size 2 to be healthy. I am at my healthy weight and I feel good to walk in that confidence.
All right, welcome back to Real Keto Talk. And today we have a very cool guest on our show. And the reason why I'm extra excited about this guest today, and I'm going to have her introduce herself momentarily, but the reason why I'm extra excited is we spend a lot of time talking about things like what we're eating and when we're eating and time saving and, all these other topics, which are all important. But we don't spend enough time on this topic, and I don't think this topic gets enough attention a lot of times, because this journey that we talk about week after week after week is a journey, and there's a lot more to it than just the what we're doing. It's how we're navigating that journey. So let me introduce Elizabeth Kerr. Elizabeth, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Very cool. Now, I will tell you, Elizabeth has achieved an extraordinary accomplishment in her journey. Elizabeth, how much weight have you lost?
I've lost 120 pounds in 8 months.
That is incredible. Congratulations on that. That is amazing.
It's been a journey.
Yes, I bet it has. So the reason I wanted to have you on, besides the fact that clearly you know how to navigate this journey, probably better than about anybody, is I've heard you when you've had things on and when you've spoken, talk a lot about that the transformation from beginning to end was not just in pounds and inches, that there was a lot of internal things that happened and things that happened with how you felt, your confidence, and all of that in terms of navigating this journey. So I'd like to dive into those topics a little bit, because I don't think people talk a lot about how this isn't just about getting from losing pound 1 to pound whatever it is. It's very easy to, where it's not going to be that smooth of a journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey and about, how things were from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, sure. So when I started this journey, it was last year. It was actually right before the pandemic hit. So I was actually on a high because I started at the beginning of February. So I started the new year, and my word for that year was health. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm 10 months postpartum with twins. I'm 287 pounds, my all-time high. And I had no energy, and I wanted to have the energy to chase my kids. I have 5 total. And I wanted to be the mom, taking them all to the park and doing all these things. But I just mentally I couldn't, and physically I couldn't because I was overweight. So I actually was able and fortunate to watch a friend of mine lose weight while I was going through all of that. And I was like, I'm going to get on that. So I started my journey. And then a month into it, the pandemic hit and things started shutting down. And I'm so thankful that I was already on the path, because I had the mindset of, you know what, this is a great opportunity. I'm not tempted to go out to restaurants. I can't go and order as easily as it was before. So I'm like, I'm going to focus on this. I've already invested the money into it, and I'm going to make this, my mindset. And so once I mentally committed, it was just a matter of following the very simple program in order to achieve it. But you're right. It was daily battles. It was having to keep my mentality there, because it was so easy to, and I think it was for all of us, in this pandemic season, it was easy to not focus on our health because we're all stuck at home and, food's all around us. So I had to be very strategic. I had to get rid of things out of the cabinets. My kids went without goldfish for a year. I know it's horrible, but they didn't have goldfish because that was a temptation of mine. And so I just had to bring my whole family into the journey and say, hey, mom's going to get healthy and we're going to get healthy together. And these are the things that we're going to do. We're going to snack more on veggies. We're going to make more healthy meals. And it actually brought us a lot closer too.
So I have to imagine, especially, you're dealing with, like you said, you've got a very busy household and you have a lot going on. You weren't just worrying about, you didn't just have yourself to worry about in this journey. You had a lot of other moving parts and a lot of balls in the air. So I have to imagine there were days when, you were like, this is just, it's tough. It's tough that I'm busy. I've got stuff going on. What did you have to do, or what came about, or what did you learn that allowed you to stay really focused on the tough times and the tough days?
Yeah, for sure. I actually have a something called a life book that came with my program that I was able to really dive into the mental aspect. I really had to dive in deep to why I'm on this journey, why it's important for me. And my why was my kids. Like, I didn't want to be a sideline mom. I wanted to be in the action. I wanted to be going down the slide with them and pushing them on the swings and not just sitting on the bench watching them play. And I really had to envision that future self. So like, I had to picture myself, okay, this is where I'm at 287 pounds. But in my head, I see myself months from now at 170, 160, and I'm healthy and I'm playing with them and I'm kicking the ball. So I really had to, when things got hard, I had to turn my brain off and just picture my future self. I had a lot of mental struggles in the sense of wanting to make choices that weren't going to serve me. So I had to take a step back and I had to stop, challenge, and choose. I had to stop where I was at. I had to challenge myself and what choice I was going to make. And then I had to make the decision. Is this choice going to get me closer to my goal or further away from my goal? And that's just kind of the tools that I used every time when I wanted to reach for something that wasn't on plan. And that was a lot of it too, is that because I had the simplicity of something to follow, it wasn't the fact that I didn't know what to do. It was the fact that I had to work through my relationship with food. And I ate not only when I was hungry. I mean, we all eat when we're hungry, but like I ate when I was sad. I ate when I was mad. I ate when I was happy. I ate when, like emotional, like whatever I was feeling, there was something that met that emotion. And so really changing that relationship and finding other ways to fill those voids and realizing that those voids were internal and those voids were from areas in my life and from deep rooted pain that I hadn't dealt with, and being able to pull those things out one by one as I lost the weight. And because what I'm really doing is I was pulling out insecurities and I was replacing it with confidence. I was pulling out those that I have carried down, those mistruths, like, oh, I'm too fat for the right relationship. Oh, I'm not one of the pretty girls because I'm a size 12 and they're a size 4, whatever, all those things that I always kept inside my head, I had to pull those out and rename those truths. It's, like I can eat healthy. And I'm a size 10 and I weigh 170. So, and I am healthy.
And you look amazing, by the way. You look like, I can't imagine you being much thinner.
Yeah. And my goal isn't to get thinner. I feel healthy and I feel comfortable and I don't have to be. And that's the other thing too. And those other truths that I still contend with is I don't have to be a size 2 to be healthy. I am at my healthy weight and I feel good to walk in that confidence.
Yeah, so let me delve into what you said, because I think it's huge. I think this is something that maybe, even if you think you're really prepared for this journey, that maybe people don't realize until it starts to happen, that this does bring up emotional things along the way, even if you're doing things right and all these things happen. So can you dive a little deeper into what does somebody do when they start to feel all of that stuff start to sort of emerge, and how you use those strategies that you're talking about to replace with better things? Can you tell us a little more about how you did that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can give you like a real world example.
Yeah.
So the ice cream truck came down the street. Okay. Now my kids love the ice cream truck. And I don't know who told them that is associated with the ice cream truck, but they figured it out. So of course they want to run out and they want to get ice cream. Right. And this is before the shutdown. So like probably only like 2 or 3 weeks into my journey. Right. So like I was still working on all those things because, it gets easier the longer you go. Right.
Yeah.
It's all those initial changes, it's the shock to your system. It's like, oh, you're doing something different. It takes the mentality takes a little bit. So the ice cream truck had came, and it was so cute because my daughter, my oldest, who's 8, Gabby, she goes, Mom, is it okay if we go out to the ice cream truck, or is this going to ruin your program? Like, she was concerned that I wouldn't have the ability to not get something from the ice cream truck. And it was in that moment that I realized, wow, God, like, how can I not say yes to myself? Like, and that's what that does. Like, when you say no to those temptations, you're saying yes to yourself, and you're fighting health, which is, it empowered my that her mom was strong enough to allow her to do something. And I could take a step back and be like, no, I'm good. Like, and I went back inside with them after ice cream, and I made a brownie, and it's actually on my program. So it was okay.
Yeah.
And I still got to enjoy it with them. So I showed how I can still make a healthy choice, and I can still say yes to my health and be who I need to be, and be your mom and let you do what you, and have fun for yourself. So it's
I like
and
that.
it's been examples like that, balancing it out. It's like showing them that health doesn't trump fun. Like, you can still have fun and be healthy. And so
Yeah,
that's
that's a
been
big
really
deal,
cool to
right?
teach.
That's a big deal because I think a lot of people that have been quote unquote dieting a long time or on a program will tend to always speak negatively, like, you don't need that, don't, real negative self-talk. And it sounds like that one of the things that was important is replacing with a more positive self-talk, like how we speak to ourselves as we're
Yeah.
going along this journey. This isn't, I'm going to suck it up and be miserable until I get where I want to be, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah. And that is so key, is that if we just suck it up until we're fine, we're never going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because the whole way to be fine is to change your lifestyle, to fix the bad habits and replace them with healthy habits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we're doing that, then we're going to stick, actually put a Band-Aid on the problem.
Well, that's why we end up you can do that for only so long. And then pretty soon even the most disciplined person that doesn't do it. We talk a lot on here about how to figure out how to implement. So what that means is how, to figure out how can you implement something so that you can do it on an ongoing basis, and it's not a temporary thing as you're going. And so I really like the idea that you're talking about figure out how to find a healthy, way to replace the things that you had going on. I love that. It's huge.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Sometimes it's like just taking those small little things. Like, for me, I focus on one area at a time. So I love Dr. Pepper, but it wasn't serving me well. So I switched to Diet Dr. Pepper. Eventually, I stopped drinking Dr. Pepper, but it was those little changes at a time. I love my coffee, but I had like that much creamer with that much coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I would even it out. And then I was slowly, like things like that, like little micro changes, because they add up to big transformation.
So that's a big deal too. So let me stop on that for a second. So the very first changes that you made weren't necessarily the last changes that you made. Meaning, like how you feel now that you're this far down your journey, you probably feel very different than how you did the first 2 months you were on your journey, say.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't, this is pretty much black coffee. Like, I don't have to put anything in it. Like, and those are habits that I had to work on, but they're habits that I still do. Like, I haven't touched Dr. Pepper in over a year, and I never thought I'd be able to not have it. And these were things that actually, and they're big. They seem small, but they're big because they're things that they're excuses that was going to stop me from doing this journey. They were things that I thought I couldn't live without, and now I don't even think about.
That's amazing.
And part of it is you just have to commit to saying, okay, we're going to make these changes,
So these little things all add up, and there's probably things where now you even do things that are even better than the initial changes. Like you said, you started with the diet, you went into, then you went eventually to no pop at all. I'm from the Midwest, They say pop. So I like that because, again, like we talk about, it's so funny. Sometimes you hear from people that are at the end of their journey and they forget what it's like when people are first starting, and to set people up to say, you're going to be making changes that turn into other changes, and that's okay. You may even have to make adjustments along the way. One really big thing, and it seems like it goes hand in hand with what you're talking about with kind of changing the talk and everything in here. And I remember you had a post up, and I read it multiple times because I thought it was pretty incredible, where you talked a lot about the journey to becoming confident. And a lot of times I think people think, well, when I'm this size or when I'm this weight or when I reach my goal, then I'll feel good about myself and then everything will be good. But what I really liked about what I saw you post was it seemed like you found a way to learn to feel some of that confidence as you were on this journey, not just at the end of this journey. I'd love to hear a little more about that.
Yeah. And I think that's huge is that we celebrate along the way and we find things to celebrate because that is what helps us switch from negative to positive. So every day, and I still do it, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And when I was on program and in the thick of my journey, I would write down 3 things that I'm thankful for in my health. And that helped me really hone into the non-scale victories, the scale victories, and just the way that I felt and how I felt better. Like 4 days in, I woke up with energy, like energy that I hadn't had in so long. And that was something I celebrated. When I saw that after the first month, I was down 33 pounds. Amazing. That was a huge celebration. Yeah. Not only that, like I started off wearing a 3X pants. So every single time I got to go down a size, I celebrated it. Now I'm down to a medium. So like every single little thing that happened, I made time to celebrate it and made sure that I was reminding myself that this is progress. I'm moving in the right direction. And sometimes we'll get hung up with the number on the scale. And that's when we have to look outside and find other things that are going to be those non-scale victories. Like you go a whole day without soda when you've been addicted to it, or you go a whole day without a cigarette when you've been addicted to it. Like those little things, and you just like keep moving forward.
I like that. And I like the idea of writing it down because, we don't remember those things, but then those all kind of add up. I bet you had a pretty huge list of accomplishments by the time you were done with those 8 months.
Yeah, I do. I don't know where it is. I wish I could show you. I'm really old. I mean, you're just a good part of the office.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's amazing. And I think we're sort of trained to, if a lot of people this is not their first rodeo, right? On the weight loss train or on the health train. Yeah. And, we're kind of taught on the, oh, you lost a pound. All right, but you got this much to go. So just don't you got to really double down. Like it's almost like it's celebrated to be miserable. Like the more miserable you are, you must be doing it right. And so were you finding that you were able to, and I don't want to say enjoy, obviously it's difficult, right, to get to where we want to be, but did you find it was easier by really putting some of those things into practice? Did that help to get through, maybe a day where you had a setback or difficult days or days where you were feeling like you were struggling a little bit?
Yeah. So there's a few things that really helped, I think, that set apart my journey is that I had a health coach. So I had somebody speaking that life and helping me celebrate. So all those times that I was excited about something, I got to tell her about it, and like that was really fun because somebody else was excited too, because she took on my health goals as her goals too. And so like that, and then the cool thing is that now I can help other people because I can pass it on because I've learned how to do this journey. And that's the beautiful thing is that when you find somebody who has journeyed as the similar journey as where your goals want to be, it makes it that much more fun because you have somebody who's investing time into you and is excited for your success and for your progress. And then like the other thing that was like really helpful, I think, with celebrating was that my kids were starting to say little things. And so when you keep reminding yourself of why you're doing what you're doing and keep letting all that positivity go in. And like when they would give me a compliment, like one time my daughter hugged me. She's like, Mom, I can fit my hands all the way around you. Oh, it was so hard not to cry when she said that,
Yes,
right?
that's so
Like,
great. I
oh,
love that.
yeah, that was the best compliment I got the entire journey. Let me tell you. But
Well,
like
because they
the
say what's
themes,
on their mind, right? We know they're not just trying to give you a pat on the back, right?
right? It's so funny. And then but like even now, my daughter will be like, "Mom, you can't have that. It's not on your program." And they know exactly what I can and can't have. But I'm like, honey, remember, we're in maintenance now. So we're eating all the things. Like we learned all the healthy habits. So now it's kind of cool to like teach them like, okay, now that mommy's healthy, I'm learning the balance and the balanced diet here. Because you have to remind them of,
Okay.
sometimes you have to remind them of how far you've come and how far you've come. Because I'm not going to lie, sometimes sometimes I have to take captive of those thoughts and I have to release them to God and let Him give me the truth. Because sometimes we get stuck into who we are or who we were, and we don't allow ourselves to step into growth and step into who we've become.
Yes.
And so for me, and remembering like who I am and I'm a believer. So I believe that my life has a purpose and God has a plan for my life. And so just every day refreshing that mindset and refreshing who I am. I spend quiet time. If you're a believer or not a believer, there are still ways you could do that. You can meditate, you can read a self-help book, but you're always striving for self-growth, right? We all have injustices that we want to see fixed or change in the world, right?
Yes.
And so when we're focused, but it all starts internally and it all starts within. And we can't outpour what we're not putting in. So if we're not putting in, if we're not putting in the word of God, or if we're not putting in truth into our lives, or if we're not seeking self-growth, we're not going to be able to outpour or contribute to any type of change in the world. So it just kind of goes back to wherever you're at.
And I liked it because I think when we're on this journey, sometimes we focus 100% on we are our size, or we are our weight, or we are these things. And it's obviously important because, like you said, having good health and allows you to do all these things that are important in your life. But it sounds like what you're saying is that by focusing also on our having a strong mental game, on our faith, or whatever that looks like for us, that keeps us focused on the bigger picture and not just that we are our size or we are our weight.
Right. So true. Because, this journey might be a self journey for yourself and you might want to get healthy, but that it's not going to stop there. You're not just lose some weight and continue on. You're going to be transformed because as you lose physical weight, you gain mental weight, you gain maturity, you gain growth. And with that, you're going to be a better person and you're going to want to get back. And I feel like if every person went on a health journey and got healthy, like that's what's going to make the world better, is because when you're your best, you give your best. And if we're all giving our best,
wait, let's hear that again. That was a big one. We don't want to let that roll by. Say that phrase again.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are your best, you're giving your best. And if we're all giving our best, it's going to be making the world a better place.
I love that. And that puts it into focus that it's not, it is about those things. We all want to feel good about ourselves, but it's all about us. They say if you make your world a better place, you'll make the world a better place. Yeah. So that's amazing. So this is important. So you probably came out the other side of this, I'm guessing, not even realizing how much different you felt inside as much as outside. Were you unprepared for how much of that growth happened in this journey?
Oh, that's a loaded question. How much transparency do you want?
You may be as transparent as you would like to be.
I will tell you this, that as I got healthy, it brought up and made me face a lot of things because I ran from a lot of problems and I ran to food and I ran for that comfort, and I was addicted. I was addicted to food. I was addicted to the instant gratification that it provided. And the fact that I could turn my brain off and just be in the food coma, or whatever, just like comfortable, that comfort food. And as I stopped doing that, And I spent more time in my mental health and what was important to me and the areas of my life that I wanted to grow in. It resurfaced a lot of issues that I had to work out. I had to work on building healthy finances. I had to work on building a healthy mind. I had to work on building healthy relationships, and all those areas have big issues that I am still working on, but I have the tools and the mindset to accomplish it, and I have a plan in order to accomplish it.
That's amazing. That sounds like that's a huge step forward, because a lot of that stuff I think we don't want to face sometimes, and it's easy to hide behind it. And so that's a big deal. Well, this is really good. So many good takeaways of things we can start to be doing, and a much bigger and better picture of how to navigate this, both from not just the physical side, but really importantly from the internal and the mental side, to get us where we want to go. So this is huge. I'm going to definitely go back and listen to this again myself. Going to start writing down my things in the morning for sure. But Elizabeth, thank you so much. Now tell everybody, if they want to follow along, if they want to see what you're up to and see what's going on, or know where to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook I'm Elizabeth Kerr, Kerr.
It's at Elizabeth Kerr, Kerr.
On Facebook.
Perfect. And I will tell you, Elizabeth's posts a lot of times make me smile, and I feel like I'm having a day. She always just looks like she's glowing from the inside. So I love to see them. They make me very happy. So if you need good inspiration, you want to seek out somebody that can help you. If you need a coach, then definitely you can reach out to Elizabeth via Facebook. Elizabeth, thank you again. Again, I know you have just nothing going on with a house full of kids, and I know you're super busy, so I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. I hope you'll come on another time.
Thank you. I would love to be back. Thanks for your time too.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, for everybody, let's make sure that we are putting into place all these things. Let's all look to grow and be confident in our journeys. And I'm very excited. So thank you again, Elizabeth. We will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.